shall overcome one day. We shall overcome one day. We shall overcome one day.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. It is called Pine Bluff, Arkansas now, but years ago there were a lot of little districts had little names like all of the people that lived closer to the black people. It was called, you lived at Atkins Lake. And then there were those who lived close to the bridge, across the bridge at Alzheimer's and places like that. So now a lot of those little places they're Pine Bluff now. So it's on the birth certificate, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, in January the 5th, 1929.
How did it feel to not have a right to sit wherever you like?
I felt it was terrible. I didn't like that. And we started in junior high, that's when things started changing. We start have to go across town to the high school, where we would get the bus. Okay, the white people live further down, say, 6th Street, example. Way down on the end, that's where all the whites live. And we live between there and uptown, black people, because there was elementary school there. So we would get on the bus. Tell you how we get on the bus to go to school, have about 8 blocks before we would change buses. Behind the door, you know how these buses have the door at the side and the back? Well, behind that side door, that's where we had to sit. So what was so difficult about it is that the white kids would get on the bus and they would just fill up the bus, and all in the section where we should be sitting. So that meant we got to stand all that time. And since the bus drivers were so prejudiced too, during the winter months, where you have to be at the curve or the bus won't stop and pick you up. So therefore, when it's raining and here's the trench and all the water, if you don't be standing right there and you're not there, step over that water to get on the bus, you left. So therefore, the white kids who had bicycles, they would get just in front of the bus and ride through the water so that they could wet us up before we get on, because we had to stand there and walk to school. So that's when it really began to hit me just how bad things were. So that was the beginning of uprisings. Because my group of kids going over to the junior high and high school, we were the largest group going from that part of Pine Bluff, whose folks didn't have cars and stuff, because we were poor. So we rode the bus, my folks rode the bus, walked or bicycle to work. So therefore, we had no choice. So that would be a group of us getting on the bus. So after you get wet up a couple of times during the winter months, you begin to rebel.
But would you appreciate it if it was in the summer?
During the summer, you still had to stand at the curb if you got on the bus. But it didn't matter during the summer because we didn't have to ride. I could walk to uptown to the library. But during the summer, you still had run-ins with, it was just that they were taught and we did not get along. We fought. But nothing happened. No parents, there was no protest. We were just fight. Even on the bus, when we stopped riding in the back of the bus, I skipped that part. One morning we were there standing waiting, and we said we were tired of this. We're gonna sit down on the bus. So you gotta be kidding. The other kids said, "You're gonna sit? Where you gonna sit?" I said, "We're gonna sit in the laps of whoever's sitting back there where we're supposed to sit." So we got on the bus that day, and it was filled all up. We got past that door, and we just walked on back there and took a seat like they were empty. So they had to let us sit on their lap all the way, so naturally we fought all the way up there. But that ended that. We never had that problem anymore. During the summer months, it didn't make any difference because we could walk where we wanted to go, and you didn't have to ride the school bus because we didn't have summer school. So the rest of us who would go to the library, we could walk uptown to the library. And it was one library, one building. On the ground floor was a drugstore, the only drugstore owned by black people. And upstairs was our library. And it is still there now. I was looking at some pictures. That old building is still there, and at the top of that building was our library. So that was our summer. We went to the library and read. and played. I mean, there was nothing else to do.
Okay, this is my last question that I have. So, I got a question. Were you in the movement with Rosa Parks and Dr. King?
I wasn't there then. I was here.
Oh.
See, I'd come out, finish high school, and I came out here. I'd gone to college there, and then I came out here to go to UC Berkeley. I wasn't there, but my mother was saying if I had been there, I would have been in it. I was definitely been in it. Because my mother used to say, oh, Lord, when everything was going on, they're locking up kids. She said, we'd been spending all our little money getting you out of jail because she knew I was rebellious. I was rebellious. I didn't like it because I had learned the difference after I got into high school, that crossing town on the buses, that had been my most experience with segregation. I just noticed that downtown, I noticed things, but I didn't think too much about it at the time because I thought my mother had a good job. But I lived in a Jewish town, I'll tell you that. All of the buildings and all of the businesses was Jewish. So therefore I had lots of holidays out of school because all of the state holidays and all the Jewish holidays, you couldn't buy nothing downtown if it was a Jewish holiday. So it was shut up. So I got a lot of days out of school, which was okay. But my mother and a lot of our parents worked in the stores. But to show you how prejudiced they were, if nobody brown skin could even be the maid at the store, my mother looked almost white. You guys saw her picture. And so therefore she worked in the store, she decorated the windows, and her friends worked in other stores. But they were all light skinned in those stores, just how prejudiced. They didn't want black really showing up in the showcase decorating the windows. So they would have the light skinned people doing that. It was very prejudiced. I grew up in a very prejudiced town.
Like my skin tone?
You see, you'd be brown. No, honey. It would be very, very fair. You would look like you were white. I'll be right back. I'll show you what I mean. It's different, huh? Now, I got all the color from Manuels and Pattersons. The Manuels and Pattersons were dark. Any of the light-skinned Manuels and Pattersons, they have been intermarried. You're like Roscoe. No, you wouldn't know them. You will still be brown because there was a church in my hometown, and I wasn't aware of it. I knew that there was this church down at the end of Pullen, and I realized after I came to California that that was a prejudiced church. Only black people who went to that church, they called it the Blue Vein Church. If you could see your blue veins blue, and you look like my mother. That's where all of them went to church, but my mother didn't go. But that's where most of the people went. So that was prejudice all the way around. We were prejudiced among each other. Believe me, a lot of the light skins prejudiced against the dark skins. So I know that comes as a surprise because you would never think that we would ever be prejudiced against one another. Because I remember after college, all the years, homecoming, the homecoming queen, because Pine Bluff would open up for everybody. You could have your day, your park, and they would shut down the streets so you could have a parade, and nobody bothered you. It was well protected. But I know when they got the first homecoming queen at the college, first brown one, all of them were very light skinned. So the one year, that first year, that we had a queen, a homecoming queen from the college who was darker than me. Because it seems like all of Pine Bluff supported her. And she just went over the top raising funds. So she was the one sitting on the float going down Main Street. And I hadn't started to college yet, I was in high school. And it was everyone was so proud to finally, that they recognized on the campus that somebody brown skin could be queen.
I have some questions.
Sure.
So you said you came out here for college?
I finished college, I came out here to go to grad school.
Okay, so where'd you go? You went to
UC
Arkansas
Berkeley.
Pine Bluff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I went to the same school that Val's kids, family goes to now.
Okay.
It was AM&N College when I went, but it's University of Arkansas now.
Oh, so you went to University of Arkansas?
But it was AM&N College at the time.
Okay.
Because see, back then, all of the community college like that, became a part of the university system.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, we just had to scattered around. See, in Little Rock they had a Arkansas Baptist College. That was a shorter college where Methodist people went, and that was the Arkansas AM&N College. It was agricultural, mechanical, and normal college because that's what you took there. Mm-hmm. So then as time passed, and they began to upgrade Then it became the University of Arkansas.
Okay. And so you graduated with?
It was AM&N.
Okay. What was your major?
I was going to teach math, a math teacher.
Okay. So then you came out here to UC Berkeley. And did you get the master's?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, different was, now that's another story.
Okay.
When I came out here, I was late getting my registration in, so I was a semester late.
I have a question. I think the last time we came here, you said your husband was a firefighter.
Yes.
How hard was it for him to get in that field as an African American, and
Okay,
did he
back
face
in the day
opposition?
when he came in, they hadn't hired a black firefighter in about 10 years. They would hire maybe one. So then when he finally gets in the fire department, he goes in right at the time. They were just getting ready to. They already integrate the department because they had the black firefighters and then a few others, and there were a couple of houses, like the house on 32nd and Linden or something. There was a firehouse there. 32. That's where all of the black firefighters were, with the 3 shifts. That's where they were, and they just couldn't go to any other places. So when Bill went on, that's when they were changing the hours and making the 3 shifts. So then they had to shift, and he was the only one that went on. But they had about, let me see, the Godwin had gone in earlier, many years earlier, and Bill was the first one that had been in. He's around 8 or 10 years that they had a black firefighter come in. And so then, but they had to shift him around. He stayed on the route. He'd have him at this firehouse for a while, so many days, and then another. And then there were some of the firehouses didn't want to eat with him. Can you believe it? Did not want to eat with Bill. Well, Bill said it didn't make him any difference. You don't have to eat with me. When they began to break down this separate eating, he said, I think all the others had kind of come around, but the one on High Street, I think it was, that said, oh no, when he was sent to that house, and they said, it was near lunchtime, this came to be, well, we don't know what kind of arrangements you've made for your lunch, but you know, we have a club here, and you have to belong to the club to eat lunch with the group. So Bill said, oh, that's okay. So you guys have a club, and so I'm not a member. He said, right. He said, well, that's okay, don't worry about it. I just call the chief and have the chief to bring my lunch. Oh, no. After he said that, he says, so this, oh, no. So they went back, no, you don't, that's okay, don't call the chief. They didn't want to go, see, this is supposed to be broken down. And here they are still upholding it. So Bill said, they said, oh, okay then, if you'd rather not have the chief bring it, that's fine with me. Because see, I know I'm gonna eat. Well, you have to be a strong person to put up with that stuff and to let them know you're not gonna be walked over, because after all, you've been sworn in by the city of Oakland, and all of them need their jobs like he needed his, but they just did not want blacks to have that job. They did not want blacks, and he was the only one made, and there were 3 other guys who were really, really good. Bill said he was just shocked that they didn't, because they made very good scores. If anyone your age wanted to talk to them about anything. But then you're a special young lady. I knew that when I first heard you singing and saw you singing and everything.
She's gonna sing a little for you now.
Oh, get you up. Oh, wonderful. Come on.
Get up. You just said it.
Oh, I love it. This is a treat.
I just wanna praise you forever.